McGeorge is Sacramento's law school.
It's kind of that grittiness that I think defines McGeorge. People come here because they want to be lawyers and make a difference. They want to be effective, and we try to provide them with the tools. And every year in the assessment of top lawyers in the capital region, McGeorge lawyers are there in huge numbers.
It is paramount that it evolves with the legal community, and legal education changes. And the school has been at the forefront of that.
We have more graduates walking the halls of the Capitol or the halls of the leading law firms, public defender and DA's offices, government offices here in the Capitol than in any other law school. And that's something to be proud of.
In the heart of California's capital city, a legal institution has stood the test of time, shaping the destinies of countless individuals and making a lasting impact on our community, our state, our country, and even the world. This is the story of McGeorge School of Law, a journey through a century of excellence, knowledge, and innovation.
There's so many people, if you were to go through and figure out where everyone is that went to this school and what they're doing now, you'll see that they're in all parts of government, they're in all parts of business, they're doing all the different things that utilize the legal degree, but don't necessarily mean that you're going to be in the courtroom as a litigator.
I think McGeorge is a fixture in the community. It is so highly regarded. And McGeorge, of course, in the capital city, has played a pivotal role in so many areas within Sacramento. I think it's a very important part of the community. It's also one of the reasons why McGeorge today is such a center for multicultural diversity. And it's just an extremely important part of the community.
Our story begins in 1924 when a one-room night school was founded in downtown Sacramento as the Sacramento College of Law. Vern Adrian McGeorge, a visionary leader and professor of law, laid the foundation for what would become a prestigious institution, holding the first classes in his living room. The first commencement occurred just a year later in 1925, and the first woman graduated shortly after in 1927. In 1929, the Board of Trustees renamed the school in honor of its founder, and it became McGeorge College of Law. This marked the beginning of a legacy that would span a century. Successive deans, including Russell Harris, Guilford Rowland, and Lawrence Doherty, upheld McGeorge's vision. However, the school faced a temporary closure during the tumultuous years of World War II. But McGeorge School of Law would rise again, reopening in 1946 under Dean John Swan, breathing new life into the institution and its mission.
McGeorge produced an amazing number of judges back before those 100 years, before there was any accreditation. It was just a night school, but it produced a bunch of local judges who became local attorneys who became judges. And a good part of the bar was McGeorge trained, which was kind of unusual, I thought.
In 1957, Gordon D. Shabber became dean, a role he held for an astounding 34 years. During his tenure, the school enjoyed what has since been labeled a rebirth, transforming from a small standalone local law school to a national law school and a part of a major university.
Dean Shabber I used to refer to him as the first dean of the modern age. He was a giant figure, certainly in Sacramento, very definitely in the law school. The alums who knew him just, extolled what a wonderful person he was. Stories were told about, and I think they're true, how when Justice Kennedy's name was being considered for the Supreme Court, several of them spent the night in Dean Schaber's office as he worked the phones with the White House. So he was truly larger than life.
Also in 1957, McGeorge moved its permanent home into the Oak Park neighborhood. Today, McGeorge is part of University of Pacific's Sacramento campus, a 14-acre complex with 28 buildings, including classrooms, a courtroom, a student center, apartments, and legal service offices. It's a vibrant place of learning and growth. Dean Schaber's successes were steady, cumulative, and critical to the long-term health of McGeorge. In 1964, McGeorge received full accreditation from the State Bar of California. As part of the merger with the university, the law school was renamed as the University of the Pacific McGeorge School of Law in 1966, paved the way for ABA accreditation in 1968, and a surge in enrollment in the following decade. AALS accreditation and Order of the Coy status soon followed for the rising law school. A lasting effect on the Sacramento community that began in the Schaber era has been McGeorge School of Law's on-campus law office, referred to collectively as Community Legal Services, its other clinics, and its externship program. In 2024, Community Legal Services include the Immigration Law Clinic, Elder and Health Law Clinic, Bucola Homeless Advocacy Clinic, and Bankruptcy Clinic, and its off-campus clinics include the Prisoner Civil Rights Mediation Clinic, Federal Defender Clinic, and Legislative Public Policy Clinic. While the students, faculty, and other employees who staff our clinics work tirelessly year after year, their recent accomplishments are noteworthy. The Elder and Health Law Clinic has recovered nearly $10 million for members of the community in the past decade, and the Bucola Family Homeless Advocacy Clinic played a critical role in saving low-income unhoused Sacramentans more than $162 million in fees, as well as filed an amicus brief to United States Supreme Court. Through the McGeorge's Legislative and Public Policy Clinic, students have drafted and pitched roughly 36 statutes to the California legislature, more than a third of which were enacted into law.
George has been an integral part of the Sacramento community. We have been involved with our community in various ways, especially with the underprivileged, where we've been there to help. And we've also have been working with organizations throughout the Sacramento area, the greater Sacramento area, helping our neighbors, helping the legal community as a whole.
McGeorge's focus on practice-focused learning is highlighted by student participation in these legal clinics and in McGeorge's expansive externship program. McGeorge is one of only 6 schools to require 2 clinic or externship experiences. In addition, McGeorge School of Law is home of the California Victims Resource Center, also established in the Schaber era as a fixture on the McGeorge campus, where students, under attorney supervision, provide assistance to victims, their families, service providers, and victim advocates across the state. Dean Schaber's connection in the Sacramento legal community brought students unique opportunities, which included Dean Schaber's longtime friendship with Raymond Burr, who starred as the titular character in the television show Perry Mason. Burr's connection with McGeorge School of Law is reflected in his philanthropic donations to the Law School of Art, finances, and some of the original scripts from the show. Dean Schaber is also credited with bringing then-attorney Anthony Kennedy in as a faculty member and convincing him to teach constitutional law instead of contracts, which Kennedy believed best fit his practice. Justice Kennedy would continue his affiliation as a professor at McGeorge, even as he was appointed to the Ninth Circuit and eventually as an Associate Justice of the United States Supreme Court. His dedicated teaching of constitutional law and comparative free speech from 1965 to 2019 left an indelible mark on the law school and the many students for whom he was a favorite professor. McGeorge School of Law has long been a leader in the study of international law, having ranked in the top 40 for the international law programs for the past 10 years. In 1974, it established a presence in Europe through the school's International Legal Studies program in Salzburg, Austria, championed by the Justice Kennedy, who taught comparative free speech as a part of the program until 2019.
the ways in which Justice Kennedy has undertaken to bring comparative international law into our constitutional jurisprudence. I appreciate the ways in which he has served as not just an esteemed professor to our students in the summers in Salzburg, but a magnet for our program, a magnet that brings students to Europe, many of them for the first time, many for the first time abroad, and exposes them not just to comparative constitutional law, but to the wonders of experiencing the world in the breadth and texture that it affords.
Justice Kennedy's presence on the McGeorge campus has never gone unnoticed, and his dedication to constitutional law and comparative free speech from 1965 to 2019 has left an indelible mark on many.
He knows so many people, but he always remembered people. He remembered his roots, and that's something that I just think maybe other people don't really realize how much he loves Sacramento, how much he loved his roots, and how much he just really loves all the people at McGeorge and how fondly he feels towards all of us.
It's hard to overstate how proud we are of the affiliation with Justice Kennedy. I used to joke to my students over the last decade or two that I'd say, you probably don't know this, but Justice Kennedy used to teach here as a joke because we would mention it with some, dare I say, regularity.
Justice Kennedy is a huge part of the McGeorge community. He taught many of the evening classes for their constitutional law, and every time I would give a tour for the reunion classes, they would each recite their experiences on having Justice Kennedy as their instructor and how they would hide behind the column in the rotunda. Trying to hide from him never worked, but they always tried. So it's nice to have him a part of us.
Well, people think, well, Justice Kennedy, he just taught a course here or two. He really was one of the leaders working with Gordon Shabber to create the modern McGeorge School of Law. He was not just a teacher, he was someone who helped shape what McGeorge is all about. And he's proud of it, and we're proud of him.
When he got appointed to the Supreme Court, there was a huge amount of publicity in our area. They don't generally appoint Westerners to the Supreme Court. You can look at it now. They're almost always all from the East Coast. And so Kennedy's appointment got people interested in McGeorge, and the number of people that were applied to get in who were good students went way up. It was a Kennedy effect.
After Dean Shabber stepped down, Dean Gerald Kaplan became dean in 1991 and served as dean until 2002. His leadership saw the creation of the Capitol Center for Law and Policy, a perfect fit for a law school located just 3.1 miles from the California Capitol building. The Capitol Center has soared in its prominence, and McGeorge faculty have become thought leaders who testify to the legislative committees and lead state agencies. McGeorge School of Law continued to grow in a multitude of ways, adopting new programs and new points of view.
McGeorge has evolved to be much more inclusive and diverse. I believe when I was at McGeorge some close to 30 years ago, my class was probably the largest class of African Americans, and I think it was probably a class of 6. It was pretty sad. But you have seen McGeorge evolve to look more like the communities that it serves, which is fantastic. I think when you're practicing law and you're dealing with the legal system, to have people who have life experiences and lived experiences who can speak to that, I think it's important. And McGeorge has leaned in on that. And I'm very impressed with where they've come to go.
But McGeorge still had room to progress. And in 2002, McGeorge's first female dean took the helm.
Dean Parker, she was, I would say, responsible with getting the law school better known nationwide. She led us to higher rankings nationwide, and basically building up the programs so that we were more presentable to the nation as a whole.
It was probably the best job I ever had. It was a great opportunity for a change, having been a practicing lawyer and then a general counsel in a number of different contexts, to actually, I thought, put my hand on the tiller and steer the ship. Now, I learned, of course, that that concept is probably not exact, because in any academic setting, any great law school, it's really the faculty that have to be the leaders.
Elizabeth Rinskoff Parker's tenure as dean saw the creation of the Global Center of Business and Development, which encourages both students and faculty to engage with the global legal community through thought-provoking international law scholarship or impactful participation in transnational policymaking and pedagogy. Ranked 33rd in 2024, McGeorge's International Law program is distinguished by the breadth and depth of the curriculum and faculty's real-world engagement in major international issues of natural resources, peace, dispute resolution, and banking.
I just took the cap off the bottle, but I shook it first, and the rest followed. I think what I'm most proud of is invigorating a really fine faculty. I particularly enjoyed when, on occasion, I would be doing one thing or another, and people would come up to me and talk about me as, "Oh, you're so-and-so's dean." Linda Carter comes to mind here. I think, and there I'll go back to Justice Kennedy, that the technique there was really to give them opportunities and experiences that were exciting for them. And that tended to rely on things that came to us because of the international program, which McGeorge had been a very early adopter of. And so in developing that and developing opportunities for the faculty to do work in the international or comparative law area, I think a lot of them really discovered exciting new areas to work on.
In 2012, Francis J. Moots III, formerly of the University of Nevada, Las Vegas William Boyd School of Law, became the 9th dean of McGeorge. Under his leadership, McGeorge School of Law launched 2 new programs, the Master of Public Administration and Public Policy program and the Master of Science in Law program, both of which offer students the opportunity to explore fields adjacent to law practice, but greatly influenced by the law.
McGeorge community means everything to me. I came here from another law school to be dean, and oftentimes that can be tricky, particularly since there was a bit of a crisis in legal education at the time. What I found was a wonderful community of faculty, staff, and students who are doing the best with legal education of, I think, anyone in the country. We were supportive of each other. We were supportive of the importance of law and lawyers, and it was a great experience. I couldn't be happier that I came to McGeorge.
Professor Moots has remained an integral part of McGeorge community as a professor of contracts, sales, insurance law, employment law, and critical race theory.
Well, I was fortunate to be dean during the 90th anniversary celebration, and Justice Kennedy was here, and it was a wonderful event. And at that point, I asked myself, I wonder where McGeorge will be in 10 years. And I couldn't be happier with the direction that Dean Schwartz has guided the law school.
McGeorge School of Law has since risen to new heights under the leadership of Dean Michael Hunter Schwartz, who has been ranked among the 15 most influential people in legal education 4 times. McGeorge has received greater recognition for the outstanding law school it is. It has been named one of the 25 most innovative law schools twice in the past 7 years, ranked among the top 5 schools for Hispanic students and for Asian law students, and consistently ranked among the top 10 law schools for both public policy and government law. In 2021, McGeorge School of Law received one of the largest gifts in the history of U.S. legal education. This gift, a commitment of $25 million by Robert T. Eglett, class of '88, and his law partner and wife, Tracy A. Eglett, supports scholarships dedicated to first-generation law students and students of color. It also provided generous funds to the Eglett Center of Advocacy and Dispute Resolution, renamed for the benefactors. The Eglett Center for Advocacy and Dispute Resolution houses McGeorge's award-winning mock trial and moot court competition programs, which consistently excel in both regional and national competitions. McGeorge's mock trial program has been consistently among the top 15 programs in the nation, while the moot court program was ranked 9th in the nation in the spring of 2024.
But we are so pleased to be able to make this gift to the school. We've always felt that when you climb a ladder of success, you have a responsibility to turn around and reach down and pull the people up behind you. And so thank you. We really hope that this gift will, when Dean Schwartz first started talking to us about this gift, we got really excited about it. This is something we would love to do. We were both first-generation lawyers in our family, and we had assistants that allowed us to get our education that we wouldn't have, and so we want to be able to help students like that in the future.
Dean Schwartz has always said that the thing he is most proud of is the McGeorge student community. In 2022, McGeorge School of Law admitted its first majority-minority class, 51% students of color, and a percentage that increased to 54% the following year. Under Dean Schwartz's leadership, McGeorge has dramatically deepened its support of students throughout the entirety of their law school experience, creating structured study groups for all students in their first semester, establishing a center for inclusion and diversity, connecting an alumni mentor to each student during law school, and offering post-grad scholarships to allow students to take time off from work to study for the bar exam.
I am most proud of all the ways in which we have tried to live up to a goal of becoming the most student-supportive, practice-focused law school in the country. In terms of student support, we have created a virtual food bank in which we've distributed more than $60,000 worth of $100 grocery carts to our students who are experiencing food insecurity, in which we've created new ways to support our bar takers through a stipend for those who cannot afford to take time off to study for the bar, and through a reimbursement program that reimburses students who do everything we recommend they do in studying for the bar exam. I'm also proud of our success in growing the entrance credentials of our students. We've increased our median LSAT by more than 30% and increased our median undergraduate GPA by about 12%. All the while becoming one of the most diverse law schools in the United States, a designation that makes sense for a law school that is in the third most diverse city in the United States.
As McGeorge School of Law looks ahead to its 100th year in 2024, it stands a testament to the power of vision, perseverance, and excellence in its ability to adapt, grow, and shape the future of legal education.
Realized that McGeorge made me the lawyer that I am and provided the opportunities and prepared me for being the first in many areas in my legal profession. So I think the gratitude that I felt for that made me want to return because I feel like it's given me a great life. I can't even count on one hand the number of bad days I've had at work. And it's just all been great.
What I hope to see in McGeorge in the next 100 years is to continue that community-oriented system. The one thing that I truly enjoyed from McGeorge is how McGeorge is connected to the community, to the region, how there's always support for new students, whether it be hirings, opportunities of internships, of growth, of giving back to the community. So as long as McGeorge does not stray away from that path, I think we're going to have another 100 years of success.
I'm really excited about the future of the law school. It is paramount that it evolves with the legal community and legal education changes. And the school has been at the forefront of that, particularly because we have a dean whose focus is so much on teaching and learning and legal education. And we're incredibly well poised for the next 100 years.
Going to McGeorge completely changed my life because I didn't know I wanted to be an attorney, and I went to law school on a whim. But I went to law school to do water law. If I was going to do anything, it was water law. And so through McGeorge classes and being able to do internships and externships at McGeorge, I realized that I enjoyed studying law. I enjoyed legal research and writing, and I enjoyed the practice of water law.
McGeorge has a lot of resources to help you get through, like just day to day, week to week, month, semester to semester, which you're like all of that. But at some point I had to get day to day, take it day by day. And there's staff for everything. There's a dean who can help you. There's the people who are around, they're committed to whatever you need at that moment, solving that problem. So the resources expand from programs to help you funding wise to get through, funding for groceries, things, just academic support, like the office hours that the professors have. Every single professor has options of office hours for you to attend.
The students, I love teaching them, acting with them, office hours with them. Again, for me, teaching was a part of my life. I loved it. It enriched me in many ways. I learned so much from the students. So that was the highlight. The second part of it would be my colleagues. George was very special in all ways, in that the faculty was much closer than I think I've experienced in other faculties. And it was a joy going to work each day, coming to my office, going to other professors' office, changing thoughts about our professional lives and our personal lives.
You know, ultimately, it's about our students. Everything else pales in comparison with caring for our students, supporting them, and then celebrating their success as they go out into the world and make a huge difference. In fact, sometimes it's about seeing a future for them that is even better than the one they could see for themselves. And then we get to watch them, cheer them, and be proud that we had a small role in them being where they are.
From a humble one-room night school to a renowned institution, McGeorge School of Law's journey is a source of inspiration for generations to come. Here's to a century of excellence and the promise of an even brighter future.